I'm Mike Turco, class of 2021 MBA graduate from the Wisconsin School of Business. Welcome to the WSB MBA and MS podcast. Today we're going to be talking about some changes to my MBA specialization, Operations and Technology Management. I'm going to be talking with Steve Bader, Director of the Erdman Center for Operations and Technology Management at Wisconsin. Great to see you, Steve.
Thanks, Mike. But before we get started, if you could share a little bit of information about your post MBA career and what you're doing now, I think that would be helpful as we kick off.
Yeah, my career journey started I was chemical engineering coming out of Ohio State, and I had an opportunity to go into consulting and technology. And I was going to be working out at Deloitte Consulting, working with clients who are CIOs of federal agencies. And I had a very broad set of experiences there, working on projects that could range from developing a new data analysis capability for a technology organization in one agency as a result of a policy change that happened. I worked on projects that were technology modernization roadmaps and talking about how IT organizations can take their legacy systems and maybe move them to the cloud or update the computing infrastructure that they're on. And ultimately, at the end, I was working on a project where I was acting as what I ultimately learned was a product manager type of role. I was working with customers who are out in the field, people in technology, business people in the government agencies that I was working with to create and stand up a new program that was going to help at least five government agencies share data. And I just loved that work. I loved the variety of it and learned that product management, which is what that work was the place for me. And I took a step back and saw that going back to business school would be the fastest way for me to get from where I was from a skills perspective and experience perspective into product management. So I went to Wisconsin knowing that I wanted to get into product management, which is what led me to you in the OTM Center and the product management club and all my experiences at school, which ultimately culminated in me getting a job at Intuit as a product manager, where I'll be joining in a couple of weeks to start up. And I cannot wait for that next step in my career journey.
Wow, great. Awesome, Mike. Any highlights you'd like to talk about from your 2 years at the MBA journey?
Yeah, this one's gonna be a long one, Steve. I can't stress enough how great of an experience the last 2 years was. During my first year, I have two highlights. One's the second year, one's the first year. So the first year, the highlight was the global trip to Croatia and Germany that you and Blair led. First year, it was in my first year, and the highlights are for two reasons. One was work related, and immersing myself and all of my fellow classmates into the business climate in Western Europe was so interesting because it mirrors the US corporate culture in so many ways, but it's not exactly. So it was really interesting to learn about and do a comparison between the two different corporate environments, I guess, to learn how you operate differently in those different contexts. And then the second reason that that was a highlight is outside of the classroom. It was just a great time to spend time with my classmates in a foreign country. We just had a great time, and I'll share my favorite moment of the trip. It was a stop I had made with a couple of classmates before meeting you in Zagreb. We stopped in Budapest, and we went to the Turkish bathhouses there in Budapest, and it was just so good. I'd probably still be there if my friends hadn't dragged me out of it. And then during the second year, things were so different with COVID, but still a great experience. And I found that my role shifted somewhat from focusing on learning in the first year to more so focusing on applying the knowledge that I learned in the first year and focusing on leadership in the second year. So to give you an example of that, I spent a lot of time with my classmate Natalie Marinello creating the Wisconsin School of Business Graduate Marketing Network Case Competition, which is our premier case competition at WSB. And that was a highlight because it was meaningful to grow Wisconsin's brand with company sponsors and get to know those people and kind of show what we can bring to companies, and also to create a meaningful and challenging experience for my first year classmates. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Monet and Knock do with that event this year. But those are two highlights for you.
Great, great. Yeah, I mean, you had, as most students do, have a fantastic experience both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And I think that's what makes a full-time MBA program so valuable.
Hmm.
Um, Great.
Couldn't agree more. Let's shift gears a little bit. So our center, where you and I both spent a lot of time the last 2 years, is making some adjustments to address market challenge or changes. Can you share some of those changes?
Yeah, great. Well, first of all, the degree name is changing from operations and technology management to technology strategy and product management, TSPM for short, to reflect our curriculum update based on market needs for post-graduation skills. The three main career outcome areas that we've targeted is number one, product management, healthcare, and third, consulting. So now the TSPM degree is now comprised of four curriculum blocks. Previously, it was three. The first block is the core courses that all MBA students take in their first year of studies, and that block remains the same. The second block is comprised of core courses required for each specialization. So the technology, strategy, and product management students, that consists of 15 credits, which is made up of 6 courses. We've updated the core courses to add 2 new classes that speak to technology, strategy, and product management skills. The first new class is a 3-credit product management course focused on the technical side of product management. The second new course that we're going to offer is a 2-credit course in digital strategy. Both of these courses will be offered this coming academic year. So I'm glad to announce that. We've also adjusted several of the existing core courses from 3 credits down to 2 so that we could accommodate these 2 new courses, thus offering more opportunities for our students from a curriculum standpoint. We've added a third block to the technology strategy and product management curriculum that is comprised of 12 existing courses that students select 3 courses for a total of 9 credits to shape their skills based on where their post-graduation targets are. Some of the highlight offerings include classes like digital marketing in the digital age, machine learning, design thinking, data visualization, and entrepreneurial management. So that's the third block. The fourth block hasn't changed, and it's the final block, which students will take 12 credits of electives, and the students will choose these electives based on their career outcomes to either get more depth and or breadth in their post-graduation career targets.
That all sounds great, Steve, and especially from my perspective as a future product manager, it's really good to see the school moving in that direction. How were these curriculum changes developed?
Yeah, Mike, that's a great question. You know, one of the key things is really understanding the market and what the needs that the market dictate. So we established a cross-functional task force that included both Wisconsin School of Business staff and industry senior executives. So the internal School of Business members came from the Operations and Information Management Department, the Marketing Department, from our Career Management area, as well as Admissions and Recruitment area. And then finally, from the Dean's Office, we had representation. So that was the internal members. We also wanted to ensure that there were external industry voices in various sectors were included, so we really understand how technology strategy and product management is represented in their sectors and the skills required to be successful. So that was really, really important. That the industry task force also included alumni from Wisconsin School of Business. So these the individuals that were members externally came from technology, healthcare, and consulting. And we had representatives from companies that were senior staff at 3M, Adobe, Procter & Gamble, Lenovo, Amazon, Bain & Company, Roche, Exact Sciences, and then lastly, Google. So the task force met over about 2 months to review our current curriculum and identify skills necessary to be successful in technology strategy, and product management. And an important theme that emerged was that MBA graduates need more technical, analytical acumen to meet the needs of the workforce and businesses in which they work.
Mm. So what does this all mean for students? What type of positions are our students going to be landing once they graduate from the program?
As I had mentioned previously, the three main areas of interest for our technology strategy and product management students are in technology, healthcare, and consulting. So, for example, in the technology space, jobs include jobs such as product management, program management, as well as product operations management. And represented in companies like Intuit, the company that you're going to, Google, Microsoft, Adobe, Amazon, Dell, and Facebook, to name a few of the companies. In the healthcare arena, example jobs would include, again, product management, program management, and then also leadership development programs in companies such as GE Healthcare, Edwards Life Sciences, Medtronic, Johnson & Johnson, Bristol Myers Squibb, Abbott, and then finally Roche. And then in the consulting domain, example jobs include consultant, senior consultant, and technology consultant in companies such as Deloitte, West Monroe Partners, Accenture, KPMG, and lastly, Bain. So really great, solid companies and great opportunities for our students in the technology, the healthcare, and the consulting industries. Great. Well, Mike, thanks for visiting with me today about the changes. And then thanks for sharing your thoughts about, the value that the program provided to you. And thanks for those that are listening. And if you have any questions, you can learn more by reaching out to myself or the MBA admissions office at the Wisconsin School of Business. Our website at the Wisconsin School of Business is wsb.wisc.edu. Thank you.